All right. I think we're live. We refresh my YouTube page. Give me 1 second to catch up. There's a bit of a delay there. I like to be able to watch it on YouTube so I can see chat. There we go. Hi, everyone. Good evening. Woo. Camera, lighting, having some issues. That'll sort itself out in a minute, I hope. Anyway, hi. How is everyone doing? It's so good to see you all here. Are we all as excited as I am? I'm pretty excited for tomorrow. Kind of feels like Christmas. you know, I did take a little flack in the comments recently. Let's just start off with this tonight for being so excited about the hearing. Now, I am painfully aware of the tragedy that surrounds Chad and Lori. I really am. My heart has broken for JJ and Tylee. For months, I held out hope that they were just stuck in a bunker somewhere, that we would find them alive, just hidden out with friends. But that's not the case. And that was a really hard day. But my excitement and my happiness is because we're seeing the wheels of justice start to turn. We're going to get justice for those kids and everyone else that has died around them. And I'm very excited for that. So please don't mistake my excitement for the hearings for my lack of care for the children and Charles and JJ and Joseph and whatever, the other guy. So yeah, I'm very, very excited for the hearing tomorrow. So I hope you all are too. There's a lot going on. It's been a really busy couple days behind the scenes. So let's start off with the obvious. We now have channel memberships here. I did not know that was coming. I knew eventually, but I thought maybe I had to have like 8,000 subs, 10,000. But no, they just showed up the other day. YouTube said, hey, here's your channel memberships. I'm like, okay, let's do it. So I see we have some members already. So thank you everyone for joining. The list of perks, you can find it. There's a button where you can see all of your perks. You have access to the members only area of Discord. Just make sure you message me so I know who you are, so I can make sure you can get in there. There's so much going on. So yes, channel memberships are here. They are working in conjunction with Patreon. Please don't feel pressured like you have to join, okay? I am not one of those channels that says you need to join or you're not a real member. I don't do that. I really don't. A lot of people can't do it. A lot of people don't want to do it. That's absolutely fine. You are still a valued and welcome member of our community. So please don't feel pressure about that. Carolyn, thank you so much. She's now an investigator. Now, Paul uses pie when people join. I think we should use the s'mores. I've added some custom emojis for you. There's s'mores. Let's see, what did I add? I don't even remember them all. We've got s'mores. We've got donuts because those are two of my favorite snacks. So there you go. And we've also got Mr. Potato Head, Carol Baskin. We have a portal. This blue thing here, that's a portal because we need portals around here. So I've heard. We've got the ruby slippers, another iconic part of my life. So there you go. We've got all kinds of custom emojis for you to play with. I know the custom badge right now is just a little star. I'm going to work on that, but I'm not sure how to make a 32 by 32 pixelated picture that's clear and unique and pretty. So I'll work on that. CC Orleans, that's a very popular meme of Carrie Elwes, Ewells, however he says that, from The Princess Bride, rolling his eyes like, excuse me? Unfortunately, it's not animated in YouTube, but it captures the essence of that meme. So whenever you say like, excuse me, that's a good one to use. So hi, everyone. Who's in the chat? We've got Carolyn, Cece, Kathy. Hi. Yeah, Sam. Sam, you're a mod. Yeah, that's why I gave you a wrench. If you don't want it, just let me know. You don't have to have it. It's totally okay. Hi, Ron. How are you doing? Sarah, Chris Fisher, Tina Hansen. So good to see you. Kavita, nice to see you too. There's no such thing as a lowly sub. Not at all. Please don't feel that way. I hope the channel membership doesn't make anyone feel alienated. It's not meant to. It's just meant to be a way for people who want to support the channel in a different way to be able to do that. So please don't feel any pressure. I'm not going to think any differently of you. If you don't sub, I won't. That's not me. So, hi, Mark. How are you doing today? I'm doing great. Thank you. Hi, Robin, VB Girl, and Shelly Sue. And I hear a cat banging on a door somewhere. Husband is off. I think there's a cat locked in my closet and is trying to get out. Or some other door. Yeah, I have cat issues. Oh, man. Anyway, hi, Christina. So, tomorrow is Chad's preliminary hearing. I am really excited about this. So, let's talk about what's going to happen tomorrow. First thing, the hearing starts at 9 a.m. Mountain Time. All right, so 9 a.m. Mountain Time is 10 a.m. Central and 11 a.m. Eastern and 8 a.m. Pacific. So, Google has a time zone thingy, so you can just plop in your time zone and find out exactly what time it starts for you. Sometimes I get it wrong. It's a lot of numbers to keep straight in my head. Sorry, I do my best. I'm going to start the stream here about half an hour before it starts so we can talk about the hearing, get everyone caught up in case they missed some stuff over the week, and then we'll start as soon as it goes live. I plan on bringing it to you the entire day. Probably going to go 6 to 8 hours, I would guess, because they have 2 days booked for this hearing, and I would assume that they want to get as much out of the way Monday as possible to make Tuesday as short of a day as possible. So I'm thinking we're looking at 6 to 8 hours tomorrow with recesses here and there. So who knows? It could be a really long day. Something could go wrong and it could be short. But however long it is, I will be here with you tomorrow. So that's my thing. That is my plan. Anyway, even if I have to step away, I'll leave the hearing running so we won't miss any of it. Also, afterwards, we'll have a little time to talk about what we saw. We'll be able to chat during the recesses. I mean, the chat will keep scrolling regardless, but I'll be able to come on camera and talk to you about what we've just heard. So I'm looking forward to it. Now, let's talk about the news that's going on this week before we get to the hearing tomorrow. We've seen a couple of subpoenas come out, 4 subpoenas for 3 Salt Lake City FBI agents that will be testifying, 1 Idaho State forensic expert. And we've also heard through Nate Eaton at East Idaho News that, what's her name? Melanie Gibb and David Warwick both said that they will be called to testify. Now, that's them saying that to East Idaho News. So whether that happens or not is anybody's guess, but I'm kind of excited to see what they have to say. Now, I questioned that in my video when I talked about this, that what are they going to say? This is really a bombshell. I realize that it's not maybe quite a bombshell as I'm hoping it's going to be. We do know that Melanie and David were some of the last 2 people to ever see JJ alive. So they're going to talk about that. We do know that Chad and Lori did call Melanie and ask her to lie about JJ's whereabouts. So they could be testifying to that. Do I think it's going to be a little bit more than that? I do. I don't think it's going to be, end of the world. We saw them murder the kids or anything like that. But I think we're going to learn some more information tomorrow. So I'm really hoping. Sam, thank you for the super chat. Thank you so much. Aw, that's Sam. Sam is becoming such an amazing friend of me and of this channel. And yeah, I really appreciate you being here, Sam. Thank you so much. So let's see. Let me check on chat. Hi, Jenny Blake. How are you? Maureen Walsh. Nice to see you. Rosie. Hi. Yes, we got the ruby slippers. Yes. Melanie Gibb. Hiss. Yeah. Gray hat Jen. That's kind of how I feel about that too. But if Melanie Gibb testifies, I expect her to talk about the phone calls from Chad and Lori where they tell her to lie about JJ and say that he's with her. No, that's kind of important. Michelle Hardy, thank you so much and welcome to the group. We are looking at a name for the group. Right, there's a contest going over in Discord. Whoever comes up with the right name for our little group, like, on Paul's channel, we call it the Sofa Squad. What are we going to call it here? We've come up with some names, but they've all been kind of vetoed already. My daughter said that, Paul sits on his sofa and he calls his group the Sofa Squad. She's like, you sit on an ottoman, so why don't you call it the Ottoman Empire? That got vetoed pretty quick. It's hilarious, but yeah, we're not calling it that. So we need help thinking of a name for our little group over here. And whoever comes up with the winning name wins a free t-shirt from my Teespring account. So if you come up with a good name, there you go. You get a shout out and get a t-shirt and it'll be great. Yeah, I would like to call it the BAU, but that could probably get us in some trouble. Generally running around calling ourselves part of the FBI. Not a good plan. So I'm not calling it that. Oh, goodness. Yeah, we gotta work on a good name. That'll be fun. So, Melanie Gibb, she's probably going to talk about things we already know from the probable cause affidavit. David Warwick. Now, see, David being called is a little bit more interesting to me Because remember, tomorrow, if he's going to testify tomorrow, it's for Chad's hearing. Now, going by just what we know from the probable cause affidavit, David Warwick didn't have any interaction with Chad that day, at least. So what is he going to talk about? You know, he could just talk about that he was one of the last people to see JJ. But what does that have to do with Chad exactly? You know, that was allegedly at Lori's home, not at Chad's home. Nobody ever said that Chad was there that night. Was he there? You know, does David must have some information that will directly relate to Chad, as opposed to just, oh, well, I saw JJ that night, or, you know, there's got to be something else. There's got to be something else. So I'm very curious to see what David has to say. It's going to be the s'more squad. Yeah, the s'mores. S'mores are a thing around here. I also have thought of Reese's Pieces because, yeah, favorite candy in the world. So we're tossing around some ideas, but we haven't found just the right one. Manglia, thank you so much. She says, I do not trust Melanie Gibb. What do you think? Man, I could probably write a book with what I think about Melanie Gibb at this point. Do I trust her? Absolutely not. Do I think we've heard the whole story? Absolutely not. Even if Melanie Gibb did come out and say, you know, a whole bunch of new stuff and a whole bunch of information, and even tell law enforcement every single thing she really knows truthfully, would that make me feel better about her? Not really. And I'll tell you why. The bottom line with Melanie Gibb is that she wasn't there to witness it per se, but she knows that Charles was killed by Alex. She knows that Lori and Chad and Alex believed that Charles was a zombie named Ned Schneider or Nick Schneider, depending on which story you get. She knew that. And she even said in her interview on Dateline, well, I thought they'd just pray over the body, you know, to like release the spirit and the body would just die. I didn't know they were going to shoot him. Really, woman? Really? Praying over him and him dying as a result would be fine with you, but shooting was just a bridge too far? That's a problem for me. But also, even knowing what happened to Charles, knowing that they wanted him dead, ultimately Alex shot him. When Lori called JJ and Tylee zombies, Melanie Gibb did nothing. She already knew at that point what it meant for somebody to be a zombie. She knew that that body had to die in order to release that spirit from limbo. She knew that. So she knew that was what was in store for JJ and Tylee. And she did nothing. So there's nothing that Melanie Gibb could say to make me all warm and fuzzy about her. Not a chance. Never going to happen. So that's where that stands, you know. Sarah says, I really wonder if Melanie Gibb got immunity. I don't think she did. I think if she was smart, she would have. Right? I don't believe that Melanie Gibb has the nous about her to have orchestrated an immunity deal with law enforcement without a lawyer. She has said herself she does not have an attorney. That's not smart. We all know this. As being involved in the true crime world, we know that you don't talk to anyone without an attorney, whether you're innocent or not. You don't do it ever. Ever. You get a speeding ticket or for some reason have to go into jail and get questioned, you don't open your mouth until you have an attorney sitting next to you, even if you are the squeakiest, cleanest person on the planet. You don't do it, you know? So for her to go through something like this without an attorney, not a good plan. Not a good plan at all. Excuse me. So, Kavita says, Awen, I appreciate your sensibilities. Thank you. Thank you very much. I don't believe for a minute that she doesn't have it. Yeah, Chatty Catty. I find it really hard to believe that no one would have told her, hey, you really need an attorney. You know, nobody. Nate didn't mention it. Or apparently she did have a conversation with Nate about it. She even says in her interview, you asked me if I had a lawyer. And I said, no, because I have the truth. So I don't need a lawyer. Oh, that's not a smart position, you know? So, do I think she'll get slapped with something after she testifies? It's hard to say, Carrie. I'm surprised she hasn't been slapped with a conspiracy charge yet. And I think my opinion is that the investigators are playing a very softball game with her. Oh, it's okay. You're our star witness. Everything's going to be fine. We know you didn't do anything. Just tell us what you know. You're going to be fine. And she's naive enough to fall for that. Okay. We've seen her fall for other strong authority types before. This is her thing. And, and she really believes that and she didn't get an attorney. That's not smart. So can the prosecution then later turn around and slap her with charges? Yes, they can. They absolutely can. Will they? I don't see how they couldn't. Unless granted, we do not know everything that happened. We really don't. But if she knew about this whole zombie thing and that people who were zombies had to die, to me, that's making her part of the conspiracy right there. But, we're going to have to wait and see what law enforcement does. But I would like to see her with charges personally. So that's my feeling on that. The timeline with Gibb, Annie said that she knew Chad a couple years before. So I'm thinking she was way deep into Chad's cult. Good point on not having an attorney. Yeah, Melanie Gibb knew Chad before Lori did, and she's read his books and all this stuff and thought he was wonderful. And she's trying to act now like, well, she didn't really believe it. She just thought it was kind of odd. Nah, I don't buy that. Anyway, that's Melanie Gibb. How is my tooth? My tooth is still broken because I'm a big chicken and I hate going to the dentist. It's not really bothering me so much. I have that dental wax that I put on every once in a while if it starts poking me, but it doesn't hurt at all, aside from the sharp, pointy end. I did try to file it with a metal nail file. Don't do that. That's unpleasant. So yeah, I'll get to the dentist eventually, but I know he's going to have to pull the whole tooth, and then I'm probably going to have to get some kind of implant tooth or something there, and that's going to cost a fortune, and that's going to be painful, so I'm avoiding it for as long as possible because it's too close to the front to have a big hole there, so we'll get that done someday. Let's see. Why all the congregation that gave time in one area? Mormons really travel far and wide. I'm not sure. They're congregated in several areas. I know when Joseph Smith was traveling across the country back in the mid-1800s, after Mormonism started, they called, what was the name of that city? I know it. He picked a town, and they gave it a name that now I just totally gone out of my head. But that was supposed to be their new Zion. That was where they wanted to rebuild. And they settled there. But then offshoots have traveled all over the world, including a big offshoot, the LeBaron brothers, who went to Mexico, mainly because when the Mormon church changed in order to adapt to laws about polygamy, they couldn't promote polygamy anymore. The LeBaron brothers split to Mexico, where they could still have their polygamous relationships and be Mormons. So, there you go. But yeah, they have gone all over the place. Hi, Catnip. How are you doing? I hope you're doing well. Andrew, I'm so proud that you made it to Discord. This is going to be exciting. Yay, good job. Hi, Carolyn, Liz Stewart, Iffy Angel, Diana Howell, Christina Marie. Oh, it's so good to see everyone. So, the name of the town, hold on 1 second, I have to cough. The name of the town that Joseph Smith still, see, now I have to Google it because I need to know. It's Nauvoo. I believe it's Nauvoo. Nauvoo. That was the town that he settled in when he was bringing Mormonism across the country, and that was supposed to be their Zion, their holy place. So, Nauvoo. Thank you, Lynn. Thank you, Susan. I'm checking chat. Yeah, we could talk for a bit about the LeBarons and the Church of the Firstborn. Now, I was going to do a deep dive on the Church of the Firstborn for Patreon this weekend, but I already did that. So it's already there. The video of the 7 missions, where I go over Chad's 7 missions from a week or two ago, that covers the Church of the Firstborn. Let's talk lightly about it here. In Mormon doctrine, it does mention the Church of the Firstborn, but it talks about it in a rather conceptual sort of way, a very esoteric way. The Church of the Firstborn is the highest level, or made up of members who have achieved the highest level of the celestial kingdom, right after death. So it's not necessarily something that is a physical church of physical living people on earth when you look at it from Mormon doctrine. Now, a lot of people have said, no, we want to be Church of the Firstborn because we're so special, and have started various churches called Church of the Firstborn this or Church of the Firstborn that throughout history. Right? There's been many churches of the firstborns all over the place. All right, because they took the conceptual idea, branched off from mainstream Mormonism, and started their own thing so they could be special. Now, the LeBaron brothers did this. All right, they went to, well, they started, I think, Arizona, something like that, California. I'm not sure where they started from. I don't remember. But they started in the U.S. When polygamy was outlawed, they decided they moved, so they went to Florida. Florida. I don't know where my brain is at. I'm too excited for tomorrow. They went to Mexico, and they settled there, and they started a church called Church of the Firstborn. Now, there were 2 brothers here. There was, oh, sorry, forgive my ignorance as being a channel member of Patreon. No, they're a little bit different. Basically, I don't want anyone to feel pressured into joining both, all right? So the way I separate the 2 is if you like chat, like you like to play with live chat, you like the extra emojis, the green name, the channel badge, that kind of stuff, then go with the Patreon. Go with the YouTube channel membership. But if you want more of just the deep dive content, the extra videos and that stuff, that's more Patreon. So, but a lot of the content is going to cross over. So kind of just pick whichever one suits your taste better. All right, so back to the LeBaron brothers, the 2 brothers, and they had this church, but they started to have a fight over a difference of, doctrinal theology opinions. Okay, so one of the brothers broke off and started his church. The other brother kept going with the other church. And one of them went a little crazy. And there were, I think, maybe 25 deaths total between Mexico and the United States, where the bad brother decided he was going to take out the good brother and take all of his followers so he could have a bigger church kind of thing. It's crazy. And this was in the 70s. So I go into that pretty deep in the video up on Patreon, mainly because that's a really controversial thing to talk about, because that really angers a lot of the Mormon crowd. Unfortunately, I'm sorry. I mean, it is history. It did happen. So that's what the Churchborn is really all about. And Chad talks about the Church of the Firstborn because he wants to, in his 7 missions, he says one of them is to start the Church of the Firstborn, to become the leaders of it. So Chad, what I think Chad is thinking is based on the conceptual idea of the Church of the Firstborn from Mormon doctrine, that he is to be that translated, that exalted being to lead a physical, real Church of the Firstborn, not a celestial kingdom thing, an actual one here on earth, and he's supposed to be the leader of it. And that's in his 7 missions. So I think Chad was a little confused. It's kind of crazy. Anyway, that's the Church of the Firstborn, and that's something that Chad was really excited about, Let's see. Oh, Hot Scorpio Rouge is here. Hi. How are you doing? I really just want to spend some time and sit and talk with you. We got a lot to talk about. I hope you're doing very well. So, could you use the name Awin's A-Team? We have to be very careful with copyrights. Even Reese's Pieces, even though because of the last name Reese, I can use Reese whatever I want. But if I do a logo that looks like Candy Pieces or in any way harkens back to Reese's Pieces, the candy, I get in big trouble. So that might not be the safest option. To be really careful with that stuff. And I wanted to do like the Ruby Slipper Society. Can't touch the Ruby Slippers when it comes to copyrights. Not even a hint of it. It's terrible. It's terrible. So, all right, I'm seeing a lot of comments getting deleted here. So let's be careful that we're not over deleting. Yes, Susan Mant says, Ervil LeBaron was the evil LeBaron. You're absolutely right. Yes, he was. If you do Patreon, can you pass on the polygamy? I'm not sure what you mean. Can you pass on the polygamy? We don't do polygamy here. Certainly not my Patreon. I talk about it, how it relates to the Mormon Church, but I don't know what you mean, pass it on. Will the autopsy results of the kids be available in the hearing? I don't think so. They could be. They could be. I'm sure the prosecution has at least a strong preliminary report, but I don't think they're going to introduce them. Only because I don't think they're going to need to. I think there's plenty of other evidence, just what we saw from the probable cause affidavit for Rob Wood to plead his case tomorrow, for it to continue to court. I don't think he would have to introduce the autopsy reports. Certainly, if he feels it's not going so well, he might, but I don't think so. So anyway, yeah. I'm going to address chat for a minute as far as comments, okay? Please don't curse and cuss and swear and stuff in the comments because that can affect my channel, so we don't want to have that. So keep it clean and respectful. All right, we don't allow Mormon bashing here, so say all Mormons are stupid. We don't do that, okay? We don't do that. We have to be respectful of the mainstream Mormon church because that's different from Chad and Lori. Yeah, they have roots there, but what they did was very different. It's very different. So let's keep chat clean and respectful, and everyone will have a much better time. So, these charges will not incarcerate these two for life. No, they will not. Liz, these charges are not enough for a life sentence. However, this is just the beginning. And that's a really good topic. Let's talk about what's going on behind the scenes with the investigation, because there's a lot going on. Now, let's start back with Joseph Ryan. Joseph Ryan was Lori's third husband, and he died allegedly of a heart attack or something like that. But remember, Alex Cox actually went to jail for 90 days for assaulting Joseph Ryan years before that with a taser. All right, so we know that Alex at one point attacked Joseph, whether that was an attempt to kill or just scare him, whatever. Alex attacked Joseph Ryan. He didn't kill him. Joseph went on to live for a while, and then he died of a heart attack in 2018, I believe, and was left dead in his apartment. Nobody found him for a long time. It's horrible. It's horrifying. And we know that there was a very nasty custody battle between Lori and Joseph. Did Alex take up for her and just take Joseph down? Quite possibly. So what we know about Joseph's investigation is that there was a toxicology report released on Joseph Ryan in June of this year. It would be July, but 5 weeks ago. So they're looking at Joseph Ryan's death. Okay, just as of June. So that's a good sign that law enforcement is investigating Joseph's death and may find a way to tie that to Chad and Lori. So there's the first one. Then we have Charles Vallow, Lori's fourth husband, who we know was shot to death by Alex Cox. That part is not in contention. Alex shot Charles Vallow. Okay, that's not a question. Now, we also know that the lead detective on Charles Vallow's case has recently been changed, and they're looking into Charles Vallow's death. So maybe they're looking at tying two murders to Chad and Lori. Okay. Now, after Charles, we have Tylee and JJ, who we know for sure they are looking at Chad and Lori. But then we also have Tammy Daybell. They exhumed Tammy. Tammy was Chad's wife, who mysteriously died one night in her sleep, allegedly. They exhumed her body in December of last year. They had a search warrant for Chad's house in January of last year. And in April, they announced that their investigation into Tammy's death was taking a turn, and they were looking at Chad and Lori for attempted murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and murder. So what I'm seeing from my point of view is that, yes, we don't have murder charges for the kids on Chad and Lori yet, but they're looking at Joseph, Charles, Tammy, Tylee, and JJ, and possibly even Alex, and trying to tie all of these deaths into one big, giant investigation. So that's going to take a long time. It's going to take a very long time for law enforcement to wrap all of that up into a neat, tidy bow, hand it to the prosecutor and say, here you go, and then drop a mountain of charges on them. But I think that's going to happen. It's certainly my hope that it's going to happen, but I think we will see some stuff. So don't panic, but as long as they go through with what they have now, the conspiracy charges and the destruction and concealment of evidence, they can keep Chad and Lori in jail for a couple of years while they flesh all of that other investigation out. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. So no, I don't think for a second these will be the last charges that we see, but it may take quite a while for the rest of them to come. So we just have to be patient and trust Rob Wood, which I do. I trust Rob Wood a lot, and I think it'll be okay. So Sarah says, oh, I hope they convict them on all these murders. And as I said, being married to a sergeant in lack of investigation is appalling. Yeah, when it comes to Joseph and Charles and Tammy, absolutely. I agree completely. Yeah, the inside out of crime with Haven. We'll see. So, do you think that Lori had something to do with Joseph Ryan's death, and her attorney that represents Lori died from a heart attack? What I think happened to Joseph was that Lori was manipulating Alex by feeding him all of these crazy stories, like the things that we see in the custody battle, and working Alex up into a frenzy, thinking Joseph was this horrible, evil monster. And Alex, being Alex, went after him. Right, that was the taser attack of 2009, 2007. I forget the exact date. And then I think that kind of let it lie for a while. But then when everything sparked up again, certainly with Chad and Charles Vallow being around and all of that stuff, they just finished him. I think Lori put Alex up to it. That's my personal opinion. I have no evidence to back that up. Okay, that's just my opinion. But yes, I think Lori pushed Alex to kill Joseph Ryan. So hopefully they'll find some way to prove that. That would be it would be nice to see justice for all of them, every single one of them. So it's too, I don't believe in coincidences so much. And when you have a woman with two husbands who have died, you got to stop and say, all right, let's look at this. Especially when we know exactly what happened to Charles. So, we know that Kay and Larry Woodcock will be there tomorrow. But do we know if Colby? I don't know. I haven't heard anything from Colby. He did have a little post on Instagram today, but he didn't say if he was going to the hearing. But Kay and Larry, if you look at, is it Nate? I think it was Justin Lum posted a picture of Kay and Larry Woodcock with their masks on, with JJ's initials on it. And they're on their way to Idaho. So they will be there for the hearing tomorrow. It starts tomorrow at 9 a.m. Mountain Time. I will be live tomorrow at a half hour before that here on the channel. So at 9:30 Central Time, which is 8:30 Mountain Time, I will be live here. We're going to watch the whole thing. So I was in a page yesterday and they said Chad cries every night. How would we know that? There's no way anybody would know that. So who knows? It's possible. It's possible he doesn't. We don't know. The day or ever after Charles was shot. Oh, Ron, I missed the first half of the comment. Alex went to jail. He has a record that was never questioned. Yeah, he does have. They didn't seem to really look at Alex. When they showed up at the house and they saw Charles was dead and they're claiming self-defense, and Alex and Lori even give differing stories. They're like, yeah, okay, whatever, bye. Yeah, they did not do their due diligence as far as I'm concerned. Any thoughts on her two attorneys that died as well? Yeah, Colette, that's, on one hand, I want to say that can't be a coincidence because so many people in this woman's orbit have died. But does she really have some invisible spirit poison energy weapon where she can give people heart attacks on the fly like that? I don't know what's going on, but too many people died of alleged heart attacks around Lori. And she even said that one of her attorneys that died, she sees his ghost and she talks to him and stuff. So, yeah. That there's a whole world of crazy there, an entire world of crazy with Lori Vallow. Let's see. Let's check. Any thoughts? Let's see. Be easy for Lori to blackmail Alex if he was gay. Yeah, I think she could have used that as blackmail, but also as spiritual leverage. If Alex was gay, we don't know for sure. It's a possibility. And Lori was, in her twisted mind, a devout Mormon. Certainly, if Alex wanted to go to heaven, that wasn't going to work so well. Maybe that's why they had him marry Zulema, so he could be married and go to heaven if he died. She could have used that as spiritual leverage or a manipulation tactic to get Alex to do what she wanted. So, yeah. A personal. Oh, sorry, sorry, Kat. Now I was reading your post. Lack of investigation of fill the story in for Alex. Police 101. Yep. There are two big problems with the investigation surrounding Charles Vallow that bothered me. First, Charles Vallow reached out to the police many times. We see at least 1, 2, 3, 4 different body cam footages of him talking to the police, saying, "My wife is crazy. She wants to kill me. She thinks she's a god. Please help me. Please help my kids. She broke into the house," or whatever. But several times we see him face to face with police officers, asking them for help, right? And he did get the order for the psychiatric evaluation, but they wouldn't go pick her up. He's like, "Come on, I'm going to go to the school. She'll be there." They're like, "Yeah, well, we're not going to sit there all day waiting." Da, 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 da. I was like, really? Come on. And even when Lori was at the police station reporting that he stole her purse, the police are trying to tell Lori, "Listen, you got to leave now before he gets here with the order, because then we'll have to hold you. But if you leave right now before he gets here, you can just walk out the door. Come on, lady, let's go." And they're really trying to push her out the door before Charles even gets there. I can't say anything good about that at all. Not at all. And I've often said, imagine the officer who we see on the footage sitting there at the table across from Tylee, knowing that if maybe he had asked a few questions, Tylee might still be alive. I can't imagine he feels real good about that. That's got to be tough. And it's just crazy that they did not act on this. They didn't investigate Charles's death. I can't imagine a situation where the police show up to my house and there's a dead body on the floor. I say, "Oh, it was self-defense. I shot him because he came at me with a bat. I'm not injured or anything. Oh, I dab at my head with a little paper towel. Oh, yeah, he hit me with a bat. I'm fine, though. This is fine." I can't imagine where they wouldn't haul me down to jail, throw me in a cell when they investigated or something, at least 8 hours of questioning or who knows what. They certainly would run my record. Not that I have one, but shouldn't they look and do all that stuff? So I don't think they did their due diligence at all when it comes to Charles Vallow. So hold on 1 second. I have to cough again. Whew, there we go. Anyway. So yeah, hopefully now the new detective on Charles Vallow's case will go over things a little bit better. We shall see. I don't think Lori used Alex being gay as leverage. I think that he was just the last loose end that had to be taken care of, or he really did die of natural causes. I just don't know. It's all crazy. Marlene, I don't know either. I'm just speculating because I know how manipulative Lori is and how people like Lori will manipulate using something that's very painful. If Alex really believed all of this nonsense they were teaching, all of this, the spiritual nonsense, and they'd convinced him that he can't go to heaven or the celestial kingdom if he was gay, that would have caused him a great deal of pain, and he would have wanted to do whatever he could to rectify that, including taking out zombies. So she could have used it as leverage. I'm not saying she did for sure. It's just speculation. That's all. I hate to say it, but if Alex's skin would have been a different color, things would have been completely different. Lori got away. That's quite possible. Lynn wants to talk about Asen J. Aume. Yep. I'm just going to skip right over that guy. That says, "It blows my mind they didn't question separately, call a social worker, hotline on behalf of the children when Charles was murdered." See, that bothered me too, because the different stories of, oh, well, they were in the house and saw the fight, but then she took them outside. But Tylee came at him with a baseball bat. Those were minor children. When a minor children are involved in a domestic incident like that, especially where somebody ends up dead on the floor, you would think social services would be called at least to talk to the children, to make sure they're okay after witnessing something like that. Sherry Hendricks, welcome. I'm so glad you joined. It's good to see you. I hope you like your stay here with us. Yeah, I have a hard time thinking that law enforcement did not involve social services to make sure the children were okay. Because even if they may not have witnessed the actual shooting, they know what happened. They were right there while they were fighting. Then they go out to the car, and then later on they find out Charles is dead. I mean, I'm sure even JJ could put 2 and 2 together at that point. And nobody called to intervene to make sure they were okay. Yeah, it's terrible. Let's see. Scrolling up the chat. I really do not believe any of this has anything to do with any religion, just using some fancified twisting of religion as excuses for their deeds to get what they want. No religion. Leanne, I agree with you. I don't think Chad, I think at some point, Chad and maybe even Lori were spiritually minded at some point. But when Chad started writing his books and Lori started falling for, the author and all this stuff, I think they turned from being spiritual people to feeding some big egotistical needs. Let's be saviors, let's do this, where all of their actions are shrouded in religious belief, but I don't think they actually believe this stuff. Not 100%. I think they were using it as, their cover, so to speak. Social services up here in Idaho get me. I know 2 families they need. Larissa, welcome. Welcome to the group. I'm so glad to see you here. Thank you so much. And I hope you enjoy it. Let's give her some s'mores. Where's my s'mores button? I have s'mores. Yay. Let's all have s'mores. There are no carbs in these s'mores, so eat them all. There you go. Oh, it's definitely cult-like behavior. I agree, Lynn. All right, now, so the hearing tomorrow. Remember, the hearing is only about the 4 charges that stand against Chad. Okay, it's only going to be about the 2 charges for destruction and concealment of evidence and the 2 conspiracy to destroy or conceal evidence charges. So the only testimony we're going to hear has to relate directly to those charges. It should still be interesting. I still think we're going to learn some new stuff. Yay, Sam. Welcome to the group. So good to see you. Nice to meet you, Sam. Oh, Denise, thank you for the belated birthday. Very nice. Thank you so much. It was a beautiful birthday. All right, so the hearing, that's where I was. Tomorrow's hearing, we're going to hear information about those charges, which is basically everything we saw in the affidavit, the probable cause affidavit for Chad. But I think we'll hear some more. Typically, in a preliminary hearing, you'll hear from law enforcement and investigators because, remember, in a preliminary hearing, they can testify to hearsay. That would not be admissible in trial, but they can in a prelim hearing. So we may get to hear things that we would not ordinarily get to hear. That's one of the reasons I'm so excited that Judge Edens ruled that there can be cameras, because I really want to see this. All right, so that's kind of a big deal. And a lot of times it will also call witnesses that may be reticent to testify, people that don't really want to get on the stand or they think might, take off before trial so they don't have to testify, or people that could be very ill and risk of dying before the trial. Because if they get it on record at the preliminary hearing, it's on the record. Whether it goes to trial or not, they will have it on record, whether that witness is available or not later on. So that could be part of why Melanie and David are coming tomorrow. We'll have to see. I'll see a lot of speculation on my part, but tomorrow we're going to find out. In just 24 hours from now, we'll know all we need to know. How old am I now? Robin, I am 23. That's it. Thank you very much for 23. Definitely. Callie says, if Alex killing Charles happened in England, it wouldn't have been a big deal. Any gun thing is big news. Okay. I don't know. Zulema. Oh, yeah. I don't think Zulema's going to be there tomorrow. She hasn't been subpoenaed, that at least it wasn't a public subpoena. If she was, I'm not sure if she has anything to contribute to these particular charges. I do expect that we'll see Zulema at trial, though. I really do. So We're going to have to wait and see. Seeing expressions and intonations of witnesses. Beth, I agree completely. I do like to watch the body language of people testifying and people just, shifting around in the courtroom. So I'm really glad there are cameras. Very glad. Why skipping Ace and J Alme? Kimberly, if there's anybody involved in this group that I think is an actual risk at this point, it's him. I don't want to draw his attention. I do have some very strong thoughts on his level of involvement and everything he's up to and all of that. But I also understand that he has some very big connections that I'm just not going to touch that right now. If he becomes a person of interest in the case, if he becomes a co-conspirator or something like that, definitely I'll lay all the cards on the table. All right. But until that time, I'm not going to go into him too deeply. Okay. So that's that. Do you think we will see Melanie Pawlowski when it goes to trial? Robin, definitely at trial. Definitely. I think Melanie Pawlowski is shaking in her boots, rightfully so. She may even have her own trial at some point, but she will at least be there for sure. I would suspect that's why Gibbs and Warwick are being called now, in case their own charges make them less willing. Colette, that is a perfect point. Absolutely. If they get them on, whatever they say tomorrow, if they testify, will be on the official court record, so it can be used later on in trial. If they didn't call them tomorrow and then somehow they had charges filed against them, of course they wouldn't want to testify, because imagine how angry Melanie's going to be when she finds out law enforcement has hoodwinked her into being a star witness and then turned around and slapped charges on her. She will be just outraged, because this is worse than being deceived by the adversary, don't you know? She will be quite put out if that happens, when that happens. So yeah, get her on the record quick while she's all happy. And there you go. Kimberly, I also don't talk about him for the same reason. So if we could stop bringing them up in chat, that'd be great. Thank you. Oh, Eamon, is Lori allowed to watch the hearing tomorrow? I don't know. I don't think they're going to stream it to her while she's in her cell. But certainly Mark Means will have access to a recording of it. Can he show it to her? I don't know. I would assume Mark Means is going to be watching it, because that's going to give him a big heads up for what's coming at Lori's hearing. So I don't think they're going to be able to stream it to Melanie, though. So not Melanie, Lori. Can't keep all these people straight. There are too many people in this case. Ewan, your go-to face is why we must get excited when the prelims come to fore. Yeah. I can't wait until they get Melanie P on the stand. She tries to lie. Jessica, I don't know if she knows how to tell the truth. I really don't. I was rewatching one of her interviews, not the one with Nate. I think it was it 48 Hours or some other news channel. And the body language is just, it's off the scale. Every hallmark that you hear about body language of people lying is there on her face and in her hands and arms and movements. And I'm like, man. And she says some crazy things. So I would love to see her on the stand. I think Rob Wood will make mincemeat out of her, Let's see. Can they do that? I would think they would have to make some sort of bargain in exchange. Nope. Chandri, let's look at Melanie Gibb for a second. Melanie Gibb she is very naive. Okay, I'm not calling her stupid, but she's naive. She falls for people in positions of power, which is very common for people like Melanie. She certainly is enthralled by her ex-cop friend, Ace and J Alme. She's enthralled by Chad and his, he's an author. She's enthralled by the preparing of people groups. She's very easily swayed by people that she perceives as powerful. Certainly FBI agents, state prosecutors, detectives, she would fall for that too. And if they are comforting her and sort of, it's okay, they're there now, you're okay. If you just tell us the truth, we can help you. We're on your side. We all want the same things here. We're going to help you, right? These are actual tactics that interrogators will use to get information out of people they're interrogating. And I'm sure Melanie would have fallen for that hook, line, and sinker. And I think she believes that they're totally on her side and she's their star witness. They could be, pandering to her and catering to her to keep her happy and calm, to get her testimony. And then once they've got that, there you go. New charges filed. So I'm hoping to see that. We're going to have to wait and find out. So the prosecution can call her to the stand, but I think she would be considered. She is not a hostile witness. She is on the state side. She's been working with the state since December of last year. She's also working with Brandon's legal team in his custody battle. She's on Brandon's side, going up against Melanie Pulowski. So she's not a hostile witness. She's not. Very gullible, very naive, but, you know, I really hope, for her sake, you know, the part of me that can have a shred of empathy for her says, I really hope she has a lawyer. If not, it's not going to be pretty. Gibb will have been so played by the FBI for sure. She isn't charged, and that's very unfair. People like her shouldn't get to make deals because they're dead. You know, Humanimal, we had the same kind of debate when in the Kelsey Barrett case when it came to Patrick's girlfriend. What was her name? I want to say Kathy McKinney. That's not her name. Jess, tell me her name. I forget now. Crystal Kenny. Thank you, Crystal Kenny. In that case, because Crystal Kenny, as we know, Patrick Frizzy told his girlfriend, Crystal Kenny, I want you to go over here and I want you to try to kill my fiance. And Crystal Kenny's like, okay. And she drives there with a poison cup of coffee and all that stuff, but she couldn't go through with it, right? She tried 4 times to kill Kelsey Barrett, but she couldn't go through with it. And in exchange for giving her testimony, she got almost complete immunity. She has to serve, 3 years or something dumb like that? Now, granted, she isn't the one that killed Kelsey. Patrick did, but she knew it was going to happen. She let it happen. To me, that deserves a charge. If you know one of your friends is going to murder somebody and you don't do everything you can to stop it, to me, you're just as guilty. That's my opinion. That's not how the law works, but I wish it would. So it's the same kind of thing with that case. You know, Crystal Kenny got immunity for telling everything she knew, which, yes, allowed them to get Patrick Frazee behind bars, which is a good thing. But that was a deal with the devil. And even the prosecutor said, we made a deal with the devil. I hope that's not happening here. I really do, because I don't want to see that. I don't. Now, Danielle says, spot on about Melanie Gibb. She comes across as quite naive, but I can't let go of the fact that she did nothing with everything she knew. Even when you're naive, you still know right from wrong. Yeah, you do. And one of the biggest things about Melanie Gibb, and I think we might hear more about this tomorrow, is the night that JJ was killed. All right, Melanie Gibb and David Warwick were at Lori's apartment. They were staying with her for a couple days. And early that evening, JJ was acting up. So Lori called Alex and said, can you come get JJ? He's acting up and we want to record our podcast. So Alex walks over, picks up JJ, takes him back to his apartment. And these 3 yahoos record their podcast because I guess that's more important than parenting. Who knows? Anyway, after their podcast is done being recorded, Alex brings JJ back. And David Warwick says that Alex walked in carrying JJ sleeping in his arms, and he called it a tender moment because JJ's head was up against Alex's shoulder. Then they all go to bed, and in the morning, David Warwick says, well, we asked Lori, where's JJ? And she said that he had been acting crazy. He was climbing up the cabinets, up near the ceiling, even knocked the picture of Jesus off the fridge. So he went to Alex's. And that's it. David said, well, he asked if we could see him. Doesn't clarify what happened. So for Melanie and Gibb and David Warwick to have been there that night and seen all this, and we know that morning when they were asking where JJ was, that was the morning that JJ was being buried in Chad's yard. That doesn't just happen under your nose and you have no idea what's going on. I can't believe that. I cannot begin to believe that they had no idea what had happened to JJ. I mean, there's naive and then there's just, delusion that you could drown in. So I have big problems with both of them. How did they not hear a child on the cabinets? My mother would have yelled at me so loud the next town could hear. I agree, Sam. One of my kids was climbing up in the kitchen. Even if I was sound asleep, I'd be like, what? And that's a mom thing. All moms do that. Melanie Gibb has 4 kids. You train yourself as a mom to wake up at the slightest sound, at least most moms anyway. How could you be sleeping even in the next room and not hear somebody climbing up on cabinets and knocking stuff over? But David Warwick even says nothing was amiss. There were no scuff marks. Nothing looked out of place. Didn't look like a kid was climbing on the cabinets to him. So that's just awful. They would have heard the picture of Jesus fall on the floor. Mm-hmm. You would think. The podcast they were supposedly doing was, well, there are a bunch of podcasts that they made that were released after that date. There is one with David Warwick and Melanie and Lori. That could have been the one. Of course, Preparing a People has taken all of that off the internet. You can't find it anywhere. Maybe. But yeah, that podcast is in existence. That's all I can say about that right now. So we'll see what we can do about that. That the FBI has all the podcasts. They even said that in one of their emails to Justin Lum. So they've got it, and that's the people that needs to have it. So yeah. The record is available. Can't remember the exact site. Not sure what you're talking about. If it's the podcast, they're all scrubbed off the internet. But if you go to Denise Rainey's channel, which is linked in the description of every single one of my videos, she does have some of them uploaded. So you can go and listen to them. My lipstick is really sticky tonight. Sticking to my lips. Let's put some chapstick on. Maybe that'll help. So yeah, that's what I think about Melanie and David. I'm very excited to see what they have to say tomorrow at the hearing. I'm hoping we're going to get a little bit more information than we got in the affidavit. We're going to have to see. Yeah, Liz, you have to be careful on those websites. They're dangerous. Yeah, Carrie, you can go to Denise's channel. I'm sure one of the mods will drop a link to Denise's channel. She does have several, I forget exactly how many, of the different podcasts open or uploaded. One's with Ace and Jay Aume. One is with Zulema. Actually, one of Zulema's podcasts is there. That's something to listen to. Yeah, if you want to get a background for what these people preached or said or sold, that's a good place to start. They're a little silly. I think you should do a deep dive on Zulema. You can the dilemma with Zulema. I might. I'm not. Zulema isn't a scary person. She's not a nice person. She's had 5 or 6 husbands. She's kind of cheated, conned, and scammed her way through life. Who knows why she married Alex? What that was all about? The real purpose for that? I don't think they fell madly in love. I don't think she can create earthquakes. But she's a character for sure. She is a character. Depending on how fragile or frank the questions to Gibb are, she might get the delusion shook from her delusional behavior. Denise, she might. I'm surprised she hasn't yet. When you watch her interview, especially the latest one from Dateline, she doesn't seem to get it yet. I don't think she's had her woke moment, for all of her being woke about the end times and stuff. She doesn't get it. She's still very much in La La Land. We might just have to start calling her Cleopatra because she is the queen of denial, to use that old joke. But she really is. She's in full-on wackadoo mode. She's not decided to come out of that yet. And the interesting thing, I don't know if you want to call it interesting, when she does wake up from that, that's going to be very hard for her because that's going to call her whole life into question. Her whole life apparently has been deeply religious and basing all of her choices and decisions on her faith and her system of belief. And to realize that she's gone that far astray by following all of this Preparing a People, that's going to be a very, very hard thing for her to come to terms with. And I don't envy her that at all. I hope she has a very good support system and some very good psychotherapists on hand to help her to get through that, because that will be terrifying. You ever guys watch The Truman Show? Remember that movie with Jim Carrey. That was a movie where this guy was living his life 20, 30 years, and he had a great life, he thought. Family, friends, girlfriend, all the whole works. Until at the end where he found out the entire thing was a scam. Everyone he knew was an actor. The place he lived wasn't even a real place. It was a TV set. The shock of that. When I watched that movie, I was watching it in the theaters with my girlfriend. She had to take me to the ER because I had a panic attack, a full-blown panic attack at the end of that movie. Right? And that was fun. Not. But I think Melanie is going to have that kind of experience when the weight of what's really happened and her awareness of what's actually happened and what's reality dawns on her. It's not going to be fun. It's not going to be fun. And I do feel very, very bad for her about that because I understand how painful that's going to be, you know. So there's that. You know, part of me wants to help her. Like, Melanie, I get this. Let me help you through this. But part of me is like, yeah, you let 5 people die. You can deal with a couple months of psychological trauma. You know, it's just, I have really mixed feelings about her, and I don't like that. I really don't. I like to be compassionate in all cases, but those kids. My son is autistic. When I talk about JJ, that's all I can think about. You know, I can relate to JJ so strongly, and if that ever happened to my son, you would not see a compassionate me. Nope, not at all. Not at all. So, yeah. Midsummer and Get Out, Early Riser. Those are also cult exit movies? Midsummer and Get Out. I will look for those. Thank you. I've not heard of those. I'm not sure I should look for those. Take a Xanax before I watch it or something. Yeah. I don't have Xanax in the house. I'm kidding. Goodness, people come for me for the craziest things. Yeah. So anyway, Melanie Gibb. Yeah. So, guys, tomorrow. All right, here's what I'm planning how the live stream is going to work. I'm going to come on at about 9:30 Central Time. So figure out whatever zone that is for you. And we're going to talk about any news that comes up. We'll go over the subpoenas of people that we know are going to testify, people that we think may testify, how the structure of a preliminary hearing works. Like, there's no jury for a prelim. It's just the prosecutor and the defense. The prosecutor generally is the only one that calls witnesses, although I think the defense can if they really want to, but I don't think that's generally done. So we'll see. Rob would call some witnesses. The defense will have a chance to cross-examine them if they want. Rob Wood can introduce actual evidence, which the defense can have a go at if they want. But we're not going to see the full body of everything Rob Wood knows. So understand that going ahead. If you think after the end of tomorrow, well, he didn't really talk about this, or he didn't talk about that, or why didn't he talk about this? It's because at this point in the case, right, Rob Wood has not turned over the full body of discovery to the defense. And he wants to keep some of that close to the vest. All right, he doesn't want to give away his entire prosecution strategy just yet. It's not even a trial. So don't expect to hear everything that he knows. We're going to hear a little bit of it. Just enough information that he thinks he needs to put out to convince Judge Edens that there's enough to go to trial. That's all he's going to do. So understand we're not going to get everything tomorrow. We'll get some stuff, hopefully some new stuff. But that's what we're going to see. So we'll talk about that tomorrow morning before the hearing starts. The hearing starts at 9, so give it or take 5-10 minutes. Although Court TV is already set up in the courtroom, I do believe it's going to be an in-person hearing. So we'll be able to see who's in the courtroom. I know Kay and Larry Woodcock will be there, possibly Colby. Who knows? Maybe some of Chad's kids. We don't know. We'll have to wait and see tomorrow. But Judge Edens has already tested his streaming page, so I think it's going to go fine. So it's going to start about 9 o'clock. You can be assured that there will be recesses throughout the day where I'll get to come back on camera. We'll talk about what we saw and all this stuff. But the chat will be rolling the whole time. So we'll be able to talk about it as we're watching it, which I think is really great to make sure we heard everything right and we understand what's going on. And then at the end of the hearing, when tomorrow wraps up, we'll cut off that feed and we'll just talk for a little bit about what happened, get a good night's sleep, and then we're right back for round 2 on Tuesday. So there you go. It's going to be a lot of fun. And by fun, I mean informative. It's not fun. Watching a hearing for someone who has murdered several people, we don't know exactly how many, is not fun, but I want to see this happen. I want to see Chad brought to justice so bad. So bad. So that's what I mean when I say fun. Okay, so please understand that. All right, don't yell at me. Stop yelling at me, guys. Come on, man. I'm not a bad person. Most of the time. Yeah, so let's see. I'm just going to check on chat for a minute. Oops. Yep, keep it to yourself, Rob Wood, and then blast them. Exactly. That's what I think he's going to do. Melanie Gibb's later Dateline interview, she seemed to be moving away from some of those feelings. Hopefully pretty far away. Hold on one sec. I got a cough again. I'm sorry. Not sure where that cough is coming from. It's not COVID. I don't have a fever or anything like that. But I'm keeping an eye on it. Don't worry. Plus, I have my built-in mask if I need to. So it's all good. But yeah, so anyway, just to go over the channel memberships again. If you do become a channel member here and you are also in my Discord server, please make sure to say something so I can make sure that you get flagged with the right permissions, because we do have a whole members only chat area of Discord where you can get to know each other a lot better. We can talk about the case. I can talk about things I'm not really comfortable talking about in public, like that guy, he who shall not be named, and his buddies. We can talk about that there. So it's a great place to be. Discord is a fantastic app, and it's free to use. Discord may try to sell you something called Nitro, just like, I don't know, I pay $13 a month for it. Don't pay for that. You don't need it, okay? It used to be good because you used to get free games with your sub, but they don't do that anymore. So there is no need to pay for Discord. So you can use it free and have access to everything you need. We have voice chat rooms. You can do video chats. You can do all kinds of stuff with Discord. There's a link to that in the description below. So if you are on Discord, please just let me know that you're a member here on the channel so I can make sure you have access to all your perks. And, yep, I'm sure one of the mods can drop a link for Discord somewhere. It's also in the description of the video, so you can find it. If you need help with Discord, just yell. We have a bunch of mods there. It's very easy to use, so we will help you learn it really quick. It's not a problem, okay? So, yeah, don't be afraid of Discord. Also, I will be doing every Thursday night, we will be doing a members-only live stream, and that includes Patreon and YouTube channel members. You all get links to that. We'll come here and talk. Sometimes I bring people on panel with me, and we can just sit and chat about stuff. It's very casual, very laid back, but very community-focused. All right, so that's one of my favorite times of the week, is to do that every Thursday. And I will be having more behind-the-scenes videos, lots more stuff coming on Patreon. It's just going to be a really busy week as far as Monday and Tuesday at least, so excuse me, that may take a few more days. Okay. Sorry, just reading chat for a minute. Oh, Liz, I'm not sure why I was doing that. Maybe I can help you with that. I'll give it some thought. But yeah, Thursdays are fun. I like Thursdays. Thank you. Brennan Tube says, you look great today. I didn't put any makeup on. I did a little under eye stuff, a little shimmer on my eyelids, and some lipstick. That was it. So my face is not liking wearing makeup every day. So I want to give it a break. So, but thank you. I've made the lighting good so it doesn't look too horrifying. But yep. Dee's to want to say, I just want to say how great it is to be able to discuss these topics publicly like this. I believe these discussions are positive and they help us all. Dee's, I agree too, especially when, if you're watching coverage of this case and you're reading stuff and you've got nobody to bounce it off of and all this stuff is swirling around in your head, that can be problematic. So it's really important to be able to have a community where you can talk things through. So I think it's important too. So there you go. Leanne messed up her password with the Discord, so I'm waiting for it to delete and start again. Leanne, I can try to help you with that too. I'm not sure what's going on there. But anyway, so yeah, I'm going to get off here because I have to get a good night's sleep because that's early for me. I don't like being awake that early. I'll probably not be on camera first thing in the morning because that's not something y'all need to see. But remember, our contest to come up with a name for our group, drop your names in Discord, and hopefully we'll find something really quick. That's really good. And I will see you tomorrow morning at 9:30 Central, 8:30 Mountain, 7:30 Pacific, and 10:30 Eastern. I hope I got that right. If not, just check your own time zone to make sure. Don't trust me on time zones. I'm sorry. I'm not a time zone person. But you'll see that I'm going to post the live tonight. So you'll have a link for it. Just bookmark it and get ready for tomorrow morning. So hopefully I'll see you all in the morning. And bring your notebooks. It's going to be a busy day. Thank you to all the channel members. I appreciate you so much. I'm so excited for this. Guys, we got so much work to do. So if you have any questions about the membership, feel free to ask. You all know where to reach me. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, email, Discord, here on YouTube. You can always reach out whenever you want. So thank you for being here, and I will see you tomorrow morning. Yay! Hearing time. I'm excited. All right, I got to end the broadcast. There we go. Oops. Good night. Yeah, I said end the broadcast. My goodness.